Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. It is another season preview, but this one, Islander fans, totally dedicated to you. I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams, who actually got the intro right and didn't have to worry about screwing that up. And I'm joined by the man who is looking forward to not saying the words COVID ever again while covering his team, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
Hey, Mark, do you happen to know what area code Matt Barzel is going to be playing his hockey in for the next 8 years?
I believe it should be 516, Anthony, and that is actually exactly where we're going to be starting off. Because yes, last night we did our New York Rangers preview, as well as getting some of Phil's thoughts on the NHL. We're going to get Anthony's thoughts on who's going to be the MVP, the Vezina Trophy winner, Rookie of the Year, and the Norris Trophy winner. And we're also going to begin with that news that Anthony was just talking about. Breaking yesterday, Matt Barzel signs an 8-year, $9.15 million annual average contract, and it's an extension, so it doesn't kick in until next year. And unlike the Nathan MacKinnon extension, the Islanders already have him under the cap next year, so they have $3 million available. I think it's actually 3.4. I'd have to look at it again, but there is already so many good things about this deal. It's a modest raise for him, and it locks him up for a long time. Anthony, your thoughts on, unfairly or not, you could call this the reverse John Tavares.
Yeah, I mean, this is this is big. It's not signing a UFA from the outside, but Barzel could have he could have easily curb negotiations, kick the can down the road, if so to speak, be arbitration eligible, take a 1-year deal, and then walk him to, unrestricted free agency in 2 years. But no, he didn't do that. He committed to the franchise with an 8-year deal. And he said yesterday, he's like, why wouldn't you want to play here? It's proximity to the city. It's a elite lifestyle. New arena, great practice facility. He loves the boys in the locker room. So, it was a big day for the Islanders and the organization with re-signing Barzel yesterday. It's a fair deal. I've seen some comments on Twitter, mostly from Ranger fans, believe it or not, but talking about, $9 million's high for Barzel for what he produces, but you have to look outside the box, and you got to take your Ranger glasses off, or whatever fan you are that criticizes it, and realize something. Matt Barzel, for the last 3-4 years playing on the Barry Trotz, he was pounded into submission with defense first, which is not his forte, and really tried to instill with him on becoming a defensive minded player, and kind of neutered his offensive ability. I mean, this is a guy, when you look at him, Mark, he's got elite edge work. Probably, honestly, as far as edge work goes, you could probably say he's probably got the best in the league. Speed-wise, I'll still say Connor McDavid is faster just because he's Connor McDavid. But if you remember, Mark, Barzel still holds the record for he's still the reigning champion of the fastest skater. He wasn't in it last year, but the guy who won did not beat his time when Barzel dethroned McDavid. So he's got elite skating, elite speed, elite playmaking ability, elite stick handling. This is a guy, if you took him out of the Islanders and you put him on the Avalanche, the Rangers, I mean, you name a team, he's scoring 85 points, which is what he did in his rookie year. That's a safe bet. It's just the system that he was trained to really focus on defense kind of took away from his offensive freedom. So don't misconstrue that. Yes, he's getting paid $9.1 million, and you look 59 points last year, you'd be like, oh, wow, that's way too high. But again, look at how skilled he is, and then if you put him on another team, he's producing at an elite level. And you know what, Mark? Barzel himself knows that. So there was, like I said in our group chat yesterday, there was no way that he was not going to take anything less than, what he got paid, around, 8-9 million. He's not going to take a discount just because he plays for a team that's very defensive structured. He simply wasn't going to do it. So I think it's a fair deal for both sides. Lane Lambert is apparently going to loosen the strings a little bit on Trotz's system. Still heavy focus on defense, but I think he's going to give Barzel more freedom to create. So Barzel's point total is going to go up again. Will he do 85 his rookie year? I mean, I don't know. I can't say, but I'd bet my house. I could tell you he's going to score more than 59. I'll be conservative and say he'll probably score maybe 73, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he, scored in the 80 range. He's got a long-term deal. The team made a commitment to him. I'm sure he wants to live up to that. So we'll see. But overall, great day for the Islanders and their organization.
It is a great day, and we talked about stuff like this, Anthony, all summer long, that the Islanders need to make a statement to the rest of the league and say, we are a big-time franchise. If Barzel walks out the door, free agency, or demands to be traded, a la Matthew Tkachuk, it would have been devastating again for this franchise. This one is sort of a statement of, we have a star and he wants to be here. And again, I still defend John Tavares. I think John Tavares did want to be here. I just think that there were indications and other things that were pulling him around. But it's just, as far as Matt Barzal goes, they got him. He's got a world of talent. He's a great skater, as you said. I look at his 65 points and his plus 15 almost better than I look at the 85 points and the minus 15 and the minus 15 that he was last season. So, I mean, just because a player produces better offensively doesn't mean exactly you want them to be better defensively. But also, let's be honest about something else. He's playing with Zach Parise and who was it last year? Was it Anders Lee? And
in the beginning, but then towards the end, they saw the chemistry that Lee had with Nelson, and Lee was playing with Nelson, and Barzal was playing with Parise, and just a revolving door of players on that other side.
Right. So, I mean, this year it should be at some point Oliver Wallstrom, I would say. And if you get Oliver Wallstrom playing with them, that could be beneficial to both players. More on Oliver Wallstrom in a minute. But they need to get more talent next to Barzal, because you talk about his elite level and a lot of things. He's an elite level playmaker, and he opens up the ice for other guys. I'm not sure if Anders Lee is the right guy to play with him.
No,
I think he's better with Brock Nelson.
I don't think so. I think Lee is not suited for his game. He worked well with Eberle because Eberle skated well in transition. And Eberle is a goal scorer as well as being able to make a good pass. So that's a player that he needs. Anthony Beauvillier has the speed like Eberle, so he could fit that role. I know during his first year here, Beauvillier, Eberle, and Barzal played together. Maybe they could try Beauvillier, but yeah, there's options. But you're right, they need a more consistent line mate for him. That's not Anders Lee.
And I got to say, we were talking about this when we were talking about his 32 Thoughts interview. I threw up the quote that you were talking about before with Lane Lambert. And the interview sounded like a guy that wanted to be here and knew that the team wanted to pay him too. So it wasn't going to be the end of the world for Barzal to be just paid eventually. I'm surprised it happened so fast because it didn't sound like it was going to be during the season. But you know what? Good for the Islanders and good for everybody involved on this. That's a great job. And, it's going to lead us right into our preview of the Islanders season right now, because, hey, you could do the preview. You don't have breaking news to go with before you do the preview. By the way, if you happen to notice, I'm wearing the Big Apple hockey hat, and you can get yours on our eBay link, which is in the link below. They are going pretty fast. Anthony's got the white one, and I got the blue one right here. Also, football season is upon us. Sign up at betus.com, 125% bonus. And one guy that would be happy about laying down some bets on there would be that guy to my wait, hold on. Which way am I pointing? You'd be my right. So yeah. The mirrored screens are hard because his Buffalo Bills are playing well too. So that's also
they made me sweat a little bit, but they came back and got the W. So
yeah. Well, fortunately, you're 3-1, just like my Dolphins, and you have a quarterback that knows where he is right now.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to the game this Sunday, so I can't believe I'm going to do that. So, Anthony, we're going into our Islanders season preview. You look at the result from last year after making 2 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals. They finished 2 games over NHL 500, 84 points. And, it obviously was a disappointing season. You picked the Islanders to go to Stanley Cup Finals. I picked the Islanders to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. A lot of people had the Islanders winning the Cup. So, Anthony, usually I say what went right. We're going to get your take on what went wrong first.
I mean, where do you start here? There's so many different options. Well, first, I think the 13-game road trip, had them a little disjointed. I think, they did start out 5-3-2, and from there they lost their legs. I think the fatigue set in of being on the road, and then slowly COVID started to hit, which is another thing. COVID. It all started with Josh Bailey in Florida, and then it just spiraled downhill from there with going back to UBS for the home opener, and mysteriously the league not canceling games, even though they had, 8 guys from Bridgeport in the lineup at one point.
At one point, I think it was 8 guys on the COVID list and 2 injuries.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, listen, again, road trip, the COVID, the injuries, it was just a disaster start for them, really, from – I would probably say, October really all the way through January, they were rough. And then from February on, they were actually pretty good, but it was too late at that point. So yeah, it was a really strong cocktail of bad things that just dug too much of a hole and they couldn't get out. So it wasn't one thing. It was a whole bunch of things mixed together. And then to amplify it, you had a goalie standing on his head and not really getting goal support or putting the puck in the net. I mean, Kyle Palmeri, Mark, I think had at one point two goals and went 21 games, I believe, or something ridiculous like that between scoring. He was a ghost. They rely on him. This is a guy that was a consistent 25 to 30 goal guy in New Jersey. So that simply is inexcusable. It can't happen. Pajot, who's been really good for them since they acquired him. He was off last year. I don't know if it was the after effect of the injury he suffered in the conference final, but he didn't look like himself really until March. And then Anthony Beauvillier struggled. So it was, it was a whole mix of everything that really sunk him.
The way that I can sort of personify this was if you play golf, for all those out there who do play golf, and you start out the first hole with an 8, and then your next hole is a 7, and you're trying to say to yourself, I was going to break 100 today, or I was going to break 90 today, and then you're trying harder to get the next to get your score lower. And sure, you might par number 3, but then you end up with a double bogey at 6 or a bogey on 5, and it's just building up, and you never get back on track. That's sort of like the Islanders last year. I actually think the Islanders, their season sort of went wrong when they lost. I mean, it sounds like such a minuscule thing when you think about it. They lost their only third period lead in regulation against the Minnesota Wild.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a Sunday night game. They end up playing Thursday against the Devils. That was the game before Tampa, and they came home for that. So they got to spend time at home, and then they went back to the Devils. The Devils throttle them 4-0. You get that game against Tampa. Barzel gets the opening goal. I swear to you, if the Islanders win that game, a lot of things are different, even with COVID and opening up a brand new building and everything else that happened, because there would have been so much positivity riding a wave like that. Instead, the negativity continued. Tampa Bay comes back to win it. All right, we have one more game on this road trip. Let's just, oh my God, we're down 4-0 in the first period. And let's just get this over and get it done with. Bang, COVID hits. So now you're on a 4-game losing streak. COVID hits. That now it just snowballs. And Barzel was right when he said this in the 32 Thoughts comments, that they were trying to play catch up the rest of the time, and it was really difficult. Now they went on to beat good teams later on in the year, so it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah,
but it's just it was really tough. And then every now and then to sprinkle in on top of everything, Clark Gillies passes, Mike Bossy passes. These are guys that actually spent time with the organization and the players that were in the room. So they're mourning these guys, and it's just they kind of really. I don't think any team needs a reset more than the New York Islanders do.
Well, you're absolutely right. And despite all that, Mark, if you look at their record, I don't know what the point was, but at some point in February on, they were one of the best teams in the Metro. The rest of the way. So they found their footing a little bit, but like again, it was a little too late. And this is a fresh start. A lot of the guys have been listening to a lot of sound bites in the preseason. They're all, last year was just things. Everything went wrong for us, and it's out of their heads. They're ready for a fresh start. They're revved up. Everybody is healthy. And they're ready to go. I mean, you have a lot of guys, Mark, that are really will have something to prove. I mentioned Kyle Palmeri, and he, again, like the rest of the team, he came on at the end of the year and surprisingly enough, actually even kind of sniffed 20 goals, which was remarkable considering how poor he was in the beginning of the year. Anthony Beauvillier has a lot to prove. He wants to get his game back. Brock Nelson was really one of their few bright spots last year. He kind of broke out and got even better. I mean, we all already kind of agreed that Nelson has become a hell of a hockey player, but last year he really, really had a good year. He stepped up, scored 37 goals, and this was all while missing 2 weeks with a knee injury. So, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have been over 40. So, and then also remember Anders Lee also had a pretty decent year. And he was coming off a summer of, rehabbing his ACL, so he himself has said he feels so much better this summer. There were a lot of things last summer that he was limited on that he couldn't do, where this year he had a full year of training and everything was normal. So I think they're all just looking forward to turning the page and, using the mantra they had when Trotz took over, which was prove people wrong. And truthfully, I think that's where the Islanders play the best. When people doubt them, I think that really motivates them. And, I listen, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. We'll touch on that when we get to our predictions in a little bit. But despite, Lou not, adding to the forward mix, and as disappointed as I was and, vocal about that and getting our partnership axed. Thanks, Lou.
There'll be other ones.
It's a new year. It's a new page. Everyone's on the same level playing field right now. And I'm looking forward to, getting started here.
Well, believe it or not, because everybody can focus on everything that went wrong for the New York Islanders last year. But the other thing that people forget is there were things that went right for the New York Islanders. And we can start no further than just looking in the net.
Yeah. I mean, what could you say about Elise Orokin? Last year, we all know what he did. Second in save percentage behind Igor, fourth in goals against. He was second with 7 shutouts. He was at the top of the leaderboard in every statistical category. And he lost. I mean, any Islander fan who watched a lot of games could tell you he had 7 shutouts. I kid you not, Mark. There was probably about 4 or 5 games where he lost a shutout within the last 2 minutes of the game. Some of them were actually less than a minute left in the game. So he was really that good for them. And I think that, there's a reason why some of these early season predictions have him in the Vezina conversation. So I think he's going to play the majority of the games. There's no question marks regarding him. And even their goaltending tandem as a duo with Varlamov. They have one of the best duos in the league. There's not really many other teams that could say you have a Semyon Varlamov as your backup. So they're strong in goal. Their defense is solid. It's just going to be how much scoring they get. But to get more on topic of what we're right, yes, Ilya Sorokin, Brock Nelson, and Noah Dobson. They were really, really, really shining stars for the Islanders last season. And if the 3 of them can, replicate the seasons they had last year, that'll be good for them going forward this year. But those 3 were really important pieces, and they're going to be heavily relied on again.
Well, and also the next step after that, if you look a little bit further past the blue line, by the way, everybody, if you tuned into this to hear some Ilya Sorokin stuff, you're going to be hearing his name a lot today. So you go further out from there, And another bright spot, especially from the month of December on, we're going to talk about him more on the bar talk also, is Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson was one of the best goal scoring defensemen, never mind just scoring defensemen. I think he was 8th among defensemen from December 5th on. Let me just pull that up. And yep, there he is. Number 9. He was 2 points worse than Quinn Hughes and Adam Fox. I almost called him Phil Hughes. Jeez, that's a New York Yankee pitcher. That ain't the right one. That ain't the right one.
No.
But so that's another thing that went right. And you got a little taste of Robin Salo too. And you started to see some of the youth movement come in. And that's what the Islanders are going to be banking on this year. So your thoughts quickly on Noah Dobson, because we're going to be talking about him a lot too.
51 points last year. He was really amazing for them. We all know his upside when he got drafted. For a bigger guy, he skates really well. He moves the puck. He's got good vision. And this is kind of what Islander fans hoped he'd be. So 51 points in his first full year in the National Hockey League. Really the sky's the limit for Noah Dobson. I know you're gonna flash a graphic in a little bit regarding his point record in relation to Adam Fox. Listen, there's Noah Dobson is going to be a really, really good defenseman in short order. In terms of this season, I mean, with Manning power play 1 for a full year and playing at the level that he did, it's on a stretch that he could hit 60 points this coming season, Mark. He's certainly capable of it. And what's scary is that, despite how good he is, he's the Islanders' 3rd best defenseman. And that just shows the Islanders have a really strong defensive core led by Pelech and Polak. So, he's, when you talk about untouchables for teams, it's a weird word, but Noah Dobson is certainly untouchable for the New York Islanders. He's going to be a large part of their future going forward.
Now, looking at this roster and this team this year, who do you think is going to be the most improved player of the 22-23 season?
I mean, I'm gonna go with an easy one, and I'm gonna say Matt Barzel. Matt Barzel is certainly capable of scoring more than 59 points. I said earlier in the start, I bet my house that he's going to score more than 59. I think he's going to be revved up coming off this new deal. Again, he's presumably going to have more offensive freedom. I think he's going to be much better, and he's going to produce a lot more.
I'm going to go even easier than you, and it's Anthony Beauvillier, because he's got to do better than 12 goals. And sorry, everybody, my dog's going a little bit crazy right now. But it's, by the way, 2-1 odds, he's barking at the wind. So it's just any Islander that's got to improve, it's got to be him. I mean, you can't be a 12 goal scorer. Otherwise, he's not going to be a New York Islander for much longer. Because unfortunately, all the rest of the guys, most of them are veterans. I mean, I could go with Oliver Wallstrom, but we're going to be talking more about him in a moment. And it's just there's going to be a lot of that with the Islanders, where they got guys that underperformed last year and now have to get back to the levels. I know the comment section right now is absolutely killing Kyle Palmeri, and deservedly so. But you know what? Kyle Palmeri will at least rebound. We know this. Who's going to be the most disappointing player, you think, for this team? Oh, boy. Oh, here comes Anthony's whipping boy.
I mean, I think there's so much disappointment from a lot of Islander fans that Josh Bailey and his $5 million cap hit are still on the roster. Granted, I think some of the hate's gone a little too far. I mean, Bailey, he was never a 70-point player again like he was when Tavares was there. But he is a 40 to 45, maybe even a 50-point player. So I mean that's not bad. It's not anything to scoff at. But for whatever reason, he's just been the whooping boy for years, and I think a lot of people wanted him gone this year. So I think right off the bat, the minute he does, he passes when he should have obviously shot the puck, fans are just going to get even more angry and be on him. Even if some of it's unwarranted, but I'm gonna go with Josh Bailey.
My ongoing joke still with Josh Bailey, it goes all the way back to when the Rangers had Kevin Hayes. If the Rangers and Islanders traded Kevin Hayes for Josh Bailey, which fan base would hate the other one more. So
Yeah.
I still wonder about that one. But I mean, Josh Bailey is kind of there. I mean, could I say them collectively that I think maybe the fourth line might be there, like the identity line. They're getting a little bit long in the tooth. It could be them as a whole, Cal Clutterbuck specifically, but it's
Yeah,
that might be it. I think I got, like I said before, a lot of guys underperformed there, and it's hard to pick this one. Because again, some guys underperformed. All they got to do is just be better. So,
yeah, the identity line is a year older. They're a year slower. But the thing about them is they're going to be given at least be given the chance to stay together and raise their game. I mean, they've been together that long, and they're good. Like I said, Lane Lambert's going to start the season with them. Clutterbuck, let's face it, Clutterbuck is a guy who has always put his body on the line his whole career.
yes,
You're gonna break down. I mean, as it is, I think this is the second or third day in a row that he hasn't skated. So I'm not sure what his status is. I know he had some work done in the offseason. Matt Martin's older, so naturally he's going to get slower, and then didn't help that he was battling an ankle injury all year. So again, we'll see what he looks like. Cizikas, Cizikas is the one guy that still is, a
pretty
good
healthy.
player. Yeah. And not the preseason really means anything, but I don't know. He scored a beautiful shorthanded goal last night. Typical Cizikas work ethic. So he's not the issue. It's just the guys that are flanking him on either side. They're just breaking down and getting older. So, I mean, again, we'll see how they start the year. But yeah, I mean, that's not a crazy pick to kind of say maybe that identity line as a whole could be the disappointing player of the year for sure.
Now, I actually have this one slated of what position battle concerns you, but the thing is, the Islanders are pretty much set. There really isn't any position battles that are going on, right?
So really, I mean, Robin Salo has seemed to won the 6D spot. Really, the only battles are the extra forwards. Who's grabbing the 13th forward? It seems to be between Bellows and Nikita Sashnikov, who they signed just before training camp started. Apparently, he's
That a lot of guys like. He had that goal in New Jersey.
He's opened a lot of eyes, and he's a guy that can play in the fourth line, but also has the skill to, he could really shoot the puck. So in the pinch, he could play higher up. So I'm assuming they're going to be battling it out, or maybe even Martin becomes not an everyday player anymore, and Sashnikov plays on that fourth line. So I think that really just the 13th forward battle between Bellows and Sashnikov, and then also who grabs the 7th D spot. Is it Sebastian Aho? Is it Grant Hutton? But no major spots are really available right now.
And one last thing before we get to if things break right or if things go wrong. This number popped out at me when I was doing some of my stats searches. The Islanders were 12th in the NHL on the power play with 22.1% and 46 power play goals. That means they had roughly, I'm doing this off the top of my head, I think it's 173 even strength goals. Like that's I think I undercut. I think it's 183. My mistake. But again, top of my head, I'm doing this. But I mean, does that number surprise you that their power play was actually a lot better? I mean, I went all the way down to the bottom looking at it going, oh yeah, their power play. Oh, wait a minute. They were good.
Yeah. I think it kind of, again, when they were playing good hockey from February on, I think a lot of stuff just started clicking. And that, that first power play unit seems to be, from how they're, running it in practice, seems to be, it's going to be Dobson running the power play at the point, and then with Barzel, Lee, Palmeri, and I think Nelson. So some good weapons on that unit. So we'll see with, obviously Lane Lambert has new assistant coaches. We'll see, once the season starts, how they put that to use and what the scheme looks like. But yeah, having a good power play not only is important in the playoffs, extremely important in the playoffs, but it's also really important during the regular season. Sometimes it's the difference between winning and losing, that extra power play goal. So if they could stay around the same, that would be great.
I just find it funny, and I'm going by eye test, Anthony, that one of the guy that participated in the hardest shot contest
Mm-hmm.
isn't probably even the hardest shot in his own defensive pairing, because Pelech participated in the contest. Pollock, he's got a rocket if he could ever get that on net. And during the first Barry Trotz year, I thought he was going to be a breakout star, and instead,
offensively, but he became a breakout star defensively, which no one really saw coming.
So yeah, so it's very interesting. All right, Anthony. So right now, just saying, if things go right, the New York Islanders will.
If things go right, the New York Islanders will be back in the conversation to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Listen, we know the goaltending's great. Their defense is good. So if they stay healthy and Lane Lambert opens up the system a little bit and some guys produce a little more, then I don't see any reason why the Islanders would be bad at that point, because foundationally they got the system, they got the solid defense, and they got really good goaltending. So it's just if they score more goals, the Islanders are going to prove people wrong and be back in the mix. Simple as that.
Yeah, they were a -2 overall in goal differential, and their goals per game and their goals against per game are so close. I think it was 2.79 and 2.81, I think it was. But I'm looking at them and saying, if they can muster, we'll say 15 to 20 goals more, then I'm looking at them as potentially being a third place team. And then they were tough out in the playoffs. So that's what you're looking at with that.
Yep.
Now, I have to ask future Anthony a question. So if you can go to future Anthony in April and just can future Anthony answer this. The New York Islanders season went wrong when?
Elise Orokin got injured.
It's amazing. We did the Rangers preview. It was the same answer for them too.
He gets injured. You could say that really for a lot of teams, but it's the case. I know I mentioned Varlamov is a really good option to have as a backup. He's a good goalie. But then, Sorokin out for an extended period of time, means Corey Schneider is your backup, or the kid in Sakarik. And Varlamov's getting older, so playing a lot wouldn't really be great. So, if Sorokin, went down, it's really all but over. And then at that point, maybe even, compete with Chicago for that Connor guy who I think might get
that guy is not going to be anything special. No. But, I'm going to say it's that they didn't get the goal scoring. It's going to be that simple. We're all expecting Wallstrom to take a jump forward. We're going to expect Palmeri to go back to being more reliable, and all the things that are in there. If they have to deal with some more injuries, especially to JG Pajot, I think that they might fold a little bit more, and then yes, they will be in the running for that Connor Bedard guy. But you know what? You got Ilya Sorokin, and he's a great deodorant, and he'll cover a lot of that stink. Their defense is still really good, absolutely really good, and it's going to be interesting to see what Dobson does with this, especially the Dobson Romanov pairing. I think they've been having. If those two click, oh boy. That's going to hurt a lot of people.
Also, Mark, remember we talked about in our group chat with Phil yesterday is Scott Mayfield is a third pair defenseman on the Islanders right now, which even Phil said that's, when he says it, it's definitely certainly true. Scott Mayfield is a legitimate number 4 on really any team in the National Hockey League. And the fact that he's playing on the third pair, it just shows the Islanders are deep, especially on the right side.
Well, we got a lot more to cover with this, but we also still have to leave our predictions right here. What are your predictions, Anthony, for the New York Islanders in the 2022-23 season?
So in the vein of anything can happen, obviously, as we saw with the Islanders this past year, they're not going to be better than the Rangers or the Hurricanes. Again, you never know, but they're not. So that leaves the third spot in the Metro, and this is where I kind of strongly disagree with David here. The Islanders are going to be anywhere from third to fifth. They're better than New Jersey, even though New Jersey's getting they're on the upswing, but New Jersey's defense is bad. And even though Vanacek and Blackwood have been good in the preseason does not matter. Their goaltending still is kind of so they're better than New Jersey, despite Johnny Gaudreau going to Columbus. They're still better than Columbus, and really, my men's league team is better than Philly. So that's why I say anywhere from third to fifth. So that leaves Pittsburgh and Washington. And you want to talk about the Islanders didn't do anything. Pittsburgh, they swapped John Marino for Petrie, and that was pretty much it. They're an older team. Tristan Jarry's not really a good goalie. Evgeny Malkin's on the downswing. Their overall depth that the Penguins have isn't really good, Mark. It's not good.
Oh, we're going to be talking about the Penguins when we do our NHL segment.
For really as long as we've been doing this channel now, we've been talking about the Penguins and the Capitals, finally falling off. And you look at the Penguins roster, and I could see it happening. And same thing with Washington. Nick Backstrom probably won't play until after January. More realistically, probably March. That's a big hole in their lineup. And again, they didn't really do much. They signed Dylan Strome. Darcy Kemper's their goalie. I don't know how he'll fare in Washington.
And Lindgren.
Yeah. So the Caps too. I mean, the Caps defense, you have John Carlson. Orlov's pretty good, but you look at on paper, the Capitals defense, and the Capitals defense isn't really good. And like the Penguins, Mark, their overall depth, outside of Ovechkin, Wilson, Kuznetsov, again, they added Dylan Strome. I mean, Anthony Mantha, Vrana, they clearly lost that trade for sure.
Mm-hmm.
After that, again, I don't see any reason why, if the Islanders get the same goaltending and defense that they typically do, and they score more goals, there's no reason why the Islanders can't be better than the Penguins and the Capitals. Their goaltending and defense by far is better than both of those teams. So again, anywhere from 3 to 5, I'll be optimistic and say they finish third in the Metro. But again, I could see them finishing as low as fifth. But I think they are going to be better than Pittsburgh and the Capitals this year.
I think the 3 to 5 is the most realistic way to put the Islanders. If they do miss, I think they barely miss. Let's say point total. If we were doing an over-under and it was 93.5, I think I might do slightly over. You said it yourself right there. There's going to be points to be had between the Capitals, between the Penguins, and because they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. I mean, Rangers in Carolina, maybe they get slightly better, maybe they get slightly worse. There's a few more points that are available there. And then all those points that Columbus is going to be gobbling off, because Columbus is going to be an improved team this year. And they were only 3 points behind the Islanders. And the Devils are going to be improved, and they were 15 points behind the Islanders, 17, I think. But of course, you were saying about New Jersey, before you even glow about New Jersey and go, New Jersey's making the playoffs, who's their goalie? that's how I stop. You know what you could say right now, Anthony, is, you know who my goalie is? The guy that was second in the league in save percentage, and a lot of the stats we're going to cover in a moment. But it's just, you know where you got your backbone is. If there's a mistake, you got Sorokin back there, and you got a pretty solid decor. There's at least 5 good defensemen on the New York Islanders. Now, with that being said, can they get the goals? That's just what it is. Now, I know you could coach defense. It's a lot harder to coach offense. So we'll see about that. We'll see maybe if Lou should have added some more guys, but more on Lou in a few moments. But Anthony, you know what? It's going to be an interesting year for the New York Islanders, and I do think they're improved. Penguins have Crosby. You're right about that, Patrick. And that's a problem. They got Crosby, and Mike Sullivan's a pretty good coach. If only like another New York team would have given him a shot at a coach. Who knows? They might have been a Stanley Cup in their time. But yeah, Mike Sullivan's done a great job with Pittsburgh too. But you know what? You look at Pittsburgh, if I'm going to make this joke several times, Anthony, if they're in the Stanley Cup Finals, they're in wheelchairs. So, all right. So that's what we have right now for the New York Islanders in the first segment of this preview. We're going to do a bar talk specifically for the New York Islanders and one NHL topic that's going to go just for fun. So I can't wait for that one. Everybody, we're going to do some bar talk right now. Let's get the ticker hidden. And see, this is why we need assistance, Anthony. Can't wait till we have minions in our lives. Anyway, here we go.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. Welcome back, everybody, to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk, where we are gauging our confidence on New York Islander topics based on our choice of drink. Are you so confident you're going to buy everybody around? Or are you just so you want a beer? Or, oh, dear God, give me a shot, please. All right. And once again, we got the trucker hats available in the blue and the whites. And let's get right down to it. Anthony, Brock Nelson will lead the New York Islanders in goals again.
I'm gonna go round. I think Nelson has, aside from Oliver Wallstrom, Nelson has the best shot and release on the team. Especially his wrist shot. That's where his bread and butter is. He's a center, which is what usually, like, the scoring wing or the guys that put up more numbers, unless your name's Connor McDavid. But because with how responsible Nelson is, he has a large focus on defense, but he still scores. And again, he's got that great shot and release. And he's going to be playing with Lee, who he's got great chemistry with. So that will only help. The only caveat I will say is, I know we talked about Palmeri before. Palmeri is a sneaky option, because if he's the one that plays with Barzel and Parise on the right side, say what you want about Palmeri, he was streaky, he was invisible in the first half, but like Nelson, Kyle Palmeri has a very good wrist shot. He could beat goalies clean from the circles. So I would put him as a dark horse, but I'll say Nelson and I'll say round.
I'm going to go Nelson, and I don't think he might get 30. It's an outside chance I think he gets 30. I loved his production last year. At one point, he basically just threw the Islanders on his back. So, I mean, it's amazing. You take out his 37 goals, and the Islanders are under 200 goals for the season. I think it's 192. That's a lot. That's a lot that the rest of the team has to get and cover. So I do think Nelson is going to have another good year. I like the way he plays, and even defensively, him taking care of other teams and trying to slow them down. It's going to be Nelson. So, and by the way, if you guys didn't hear that, that's the sound of Anthony going sploosh for his favorite goaltender in the world. Anthony, this one is right in your wheelhouse, and I have a feeling we're going to hear it all over again in about another 20 minutes. But Elise Orokin is a Vezina Trophy finalist. Will be, I should say.
Finalist, yeah. Round. I think he made a case of he should have been one last year. I mean, he had better numbers than UC Saros across the board, and Saros was a finalist. So, I think. Listen, he's the second best goalie in the National Hockey League. I don't care what you say. He pretty much proved it with his stats. You want to talk about Andre Vasilevski. He still has a large body of work, and he's still going to be widely viewed. He's even better as Shesterkin. People say he was the best goalie, Vasilevski, because of his track record. But during the regular season, Sorokin kind of mopped the floor with Vasilevski's statistics during the regular season. So, he's that good. So I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I do think he's going to be a finalist for sure.
And obviously Heil. But yeah, I think you know what? The only reason why I'm going to go down to beer on this one is because there's a lot of good candidates. Anthony, you're going to hear me say this a lot when we go to awards later, and that's going to be that that there's a lot of sentiment, I think, in the NHL right now about spreading out the awards. And if you're spreading out the awards, that means there's going to be like, oh, Igor Shesterkin won the Vezina last year. We got to give it to somebody else, because I still think that's the reason why Cale Makar won the Norris, not the fact that he was the best defenseman in the league. Because, by the way, Roman Josi, 97 points on the Nashville Predators. Are you kidding? He would have been, he was 3 points short of being the only defenseman to score 100 points on a team where nobody on his team scored 100 points. And by the way, he would have been the only defenseman to score 100 points without anybody on his team scoring 90. So that would have been quite an impressive feat. So I do look at Elise Orokin and say, you know, the guy's got the talent in order to win the Vezina Trophy, but I think that he might be a finalist anyway. The only reason why I say beer on this is because you're going to have Markstrom that they're going to try to get one to, UC Soros, who's got great numbers, and then you got Igor Shesterkin again, who's going to be right there. And we'll talk about Dark Horse Vezina Trophy candidates in a few minutes when we go to that, when we go to the awards. All right. And Anthony, Noah Dobson will be a top 10 scoring defenseman. And we talked about some points. This is the one you wanted to see, because I'll show the year total in a minute. But since December 5th, everybody, wow, that is a good compliment to Noah Dobson.
Yeah. I'm going to say beer. I think to be in the top 10, you probably do have to be around that 55, 60 point range. And I did mention, I think he can get to 60 points for sure. But he's going to be right there. You know, if he does score 60, I would imagine that he would be in the top 10. Then I don't know off the top of my head what the 10th ranked defenseman last year had, but I would assume it probably was around 60. But you know, he's going to get the power play minutes. You know, he activates and jumps into the offensive play, so he's going to get his opportunities. But you know, I don't think it's a lock, because I also do think he could just, and I say just like it's, you know, easy, but he could just score 50 points again and, you know, just miss. But it's certainly possible.
Well, by the way, in that span, he did play the most games out of any defenseman that was eligible in those stats. I mean, he played 63. Adam Fox had 55. By the way, Anthony, in that span from December 5th on, Cale Makar had 65 points, and he was second among scoring defensemen as Josi took 75. 75. Mm-hmm. Hey, it would be nice if that guy won some hardware last year. Oh, but he already won one, Mark. So anyway, you know, I'm going to go beer. I think there's a lot that has to be there. I think you said it best. It's hard to get to 65. If he, 60. If he gets the 60 points, the New York Islanders are a playoff team. I'll say that right now. That's how much his production will be important. So he's going to produce, I think, definitely. One guy that the Islanders are waiting on and wondering about. The Islanders need Oliver Wallstrom to score 25 goals next year.
Yeah, I mean, hovering between beer and round on this one, but yeah, I mean, if Oliver Wallstrom scores 25 goals this year, the Islanders likely are in the playoffs. I mean, that would be a big boost for them. You know, again, Wallstrom has that elite shot and release, so he certainly has the skill for him. With Barry Trotz, it was always about putting it all together in other areas of his game and working hard consistently, night in, night out. Maybe a fresh voice behind the bench will certainly help him and push him. But yeah, I mean, because it's been said the Islanders need a sniper. So if Wallstrom were to develop into that, I mean, that would be all their prayers answered. So yeah, you know what? I'll go round. I mean, I still think they can, make the playoffs with him scoring, 20, depending on how everything else goes. But yeah, I mean, if Wallstrom scored 25, that would be outstanding.
I think you just talked me down. I'm going to beer now. They can succeed with him if he scores 20, at least keep the progression going up. One thing, as I was putting up some comments, I had this banner ready to go. Wallstrom in 21, the 2021 season, let's be honest, that's when all the games were played. I know it says 2021, but still, he had 12 goals in that shortened season. He had 13 all last season. That his career total right now is 25. He's going to match his career total. That being said, Anthony, he's their explosive talent. I think he needs to improve, but we said it before. You got so many guys that underachieved last year. I think it's possible for the Islanders to still be successful with Oliver Wallstrom moderately improving and getting past the 20-goal plateau. Like if he scores 24, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Anthony, we talked about the Islanders defense corps, and they got a big name on there that's not making a lot of money, or a good name on there, I should say. Scott Mayfield will be traded regardless of playoff positioning.
Shot. If the Islanders are a playoff team, they're not going to move him, even if Lou knows that they're likely not going to be able to keep him. If they're outside of the playoffs, I think it would be foolish not to trade him. But Lou operates in mysterious ways, and I could see him holding on to him even if they aren't in a playoff spot at the deadline. He did it with Clutterbuck and Parise. Got calls on both of them, didn't move them, and then actually ended up re-signing them. So, I don't think that's a guarantee at all. As we said, Scott Mayfield has been getting paid, $1.45 million for the last 4 or 5 years, criminally underpaid. Easily a top 4 defenseman. Thing is, being that he was so underpaid for so long, like Phil had said, there's going to be a team out there that gives him, $4.5-5 million in the offseason, and the Islanders want to pay him that kind of money to be a third pair D on the right side. I'm not sure. So, his future's in doubt past this season. I think he's great. Really, every Islander fan loves him. But I don't think he'll be traded if at all. If the Islanders are in the playoff spot, no way Lou's moving him.
The face I made was that I double checked and went, wait, that says 1.45. That says 1.4, not 1.45. So I had to fix that one. Anthony, I think no matter what, I think he's getting, unless the Islanders are looking like they're an upper division team and we're talking third place, not just fighting for fourth, then I'm saying they're going to have to deal him. They're going to have to. When it gets to the trade deadline and the hottest commodities at the trade deadline, depth, third, fourth line players, and depth defensemen, because every team is looking for them. And I just think that when you look at this guy, there's going to be a playoff team that will offer good an almost unrefusable package. They'll make him an offer he can't refuse. So it's one of those things when it comes to that. Unless if the Islanders have they look at their team and think they got a legit shot at the Stanley Cup, then they keep them. But other than that, I think they have to move them because they're not going to be able to afford them next year. They already know this. If this is 2 years from now, Scott Mayfield would definitely be a New York Islander when the cap goes up. So, but the problem is 23-24 does not help them. Speaking about the trade deadline, Anthony, and this is one, we covered it yesterday with the New York Rangers, so I didn't even have to do much of a change. But Patrick Kane is entering his final year of his contract. The New York Islanders will acquire Patrick Kane at the trade deadline.
Shot. If the Islanders are solidified in a playoff spot at the deadline, I can absolutely tell you that Lou is not. That's when he's not afraid to make a move, and he will look for. He'll weaponize the cap space that he has right now, and he will add somebody for sure. 100% sure of that. However, I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be Patrick Kane because I think Patrick Kane would if he is dealt, which I think he would be, which I think he will be, I think he'll pick the Rangers. I mean, I'm hearing the Oilers as a team that he would go to, which I'm surprised because who wants to live in Edmonton? But and then LA
for 2
too.
months.
Yeah, LA here as well. So I would say, as much as I hate to say it, I would say if the Islanders and Rangers are the two teams that are most serious about him, and the packages are equal, Kane's going to pick the Rangers every single time. So I'll say shot, but it would be nice to obviously get Patrick Kane, but I don't see that happening.
I'm actually going to beer. I believe the Islanders are a more likely destination for him because they don't have to absorb any of his contract. They could absorb all of it. The New York Islanders. They got $15 million of deadline space as of right now. That is a tremendous amount of money. You could easily get Patrick Kane underneath the cap, and you don't even have to worry about giving up too much in order to get him. You just got to give up. Probably they have their first round pick next year. They got some assets. They got all their draft picks for the next bunch of years. There's a third round pick that Arizona could get next year, but all they got to do is play Andrew Ladd one game. That's not happening. So they're definitely taking that pick from the Islanders. Yeah. But there's so much that the Islanders actually can offer them in this. This makes sense for the Islanders. It does not make sense for the Rangers. I keep saying it over and over again, but this isn't about the Rangers. So the Islanders, again, if they're in the hunt, will not be afraid to make a trade like that. He's done it before. Alexander McGillney with the New Jersey Devils and won a Stanley Cup with that. So I think that's just how it unfolds, and he could easily do it. Now, Anthony, speaking of Big Lou is more likely to come back next season than Kyle Dubas.
I'm going to say beer. I think Shanahan already said Dubas does not have a contract next year, and they're not talking about one. If the Maple Leafs don't win a playoff round, he's certainly gone, in which I could certainly see them losing in the first round again. So with Lou's a little bit more of a it's weird because despite how some fans have been, over him and upset with him, it seems like ownership is, they let him do whatever. They have the total amount of faith in him. So even if the Islanders weren't to make the playoffs, despite his inactivity this year, I don't think they would get rid of him. I think if Lou decides that he wants to leave, he'll step aside. But I don't think the owners are going to push him out. Whereas if Dubas and the Leafs don't win, Dubas is gone. No question about it.
Anthony, I got to go beer on this. And there's a reason why I'm about to go beer. And I can't wait to say this. If the Leafs lose in overtime at Game 7 of the first round this year, there's going to be some people saying, "Oh, they progressed." Oh my God, fire this guy. Even when he's made the right move, it's gone belly up. Like they coughed up the 3-1 lead to Montreal. They should have won that series. Yes, there's always an excuse for the Leafs every single year. And every single year I hear Kyle Dubas is betting his job on this. Oh my God, stop with Kyle Dubas betting his job. It's not going to happen.
I'm telling you, he's done it this time. He doesn't have a contract. They're not talking about one. They're going to wait and see. So
absolutely. And Jacob Chikrin will be traded. So it's just like that. I mean, Jacob Chikrin's been on the trade block since my last relationship, which was 4 years ago. So yeah, awesome. So I just can't believe that one. Anthony, we got to go back to the past to us for a second and go to the past to us for last week. For we said this. They're cracking. Their mascot's going to be awful.
Why do you say that?
No, it's just, round, beer, or shot.
Oh. I mean, shot? I mean, I don't really have any reason.
All right. So now, Anthony, let's go back to the present time. And I have to ask you this question. What the hell is this thing?
The troll.
So the Seattle Kraken mascot is awful. Anthony.
I I don't know, beer. I really don't care, to be honest with you, but it's it's silly. It's meant for kids. I'm sure kids love it, especially the younger ones. I mean, they went with a troll, which I thought is a little strange, but
Well, yeah.
it does have like a tentacle like hanging from his hair. I guess that's a a play on the Kraken or whatever. But yeah, I didn't think it would have been a troll. I mean, that would have been my last guess. But I mean, but then there's also Gritty. So that's
I
not.
know, Anthony.
I
That's
mean,
so weird. Gritty.
Gritty was so bad that people actually like it. It was that level. Like, what is that thing? And the Flyers accept it and they make fun of it and they have fun with it. But yeah, I don't know.
You know what? I'm actually going to go beer because of the gritty factor. We all said gritty is something that it would probably be something that scares small children in their nightmares. But
Yeah.
instead, now everybody has fun with gritty. Everybody loves gritty. And I mean, this could work. I still can't help but look at it and think it was Alexei Kovalev's troll doll after he came out of drug rehab. So yeah. Well, yeah, they trolled us all with a troll. How about that one?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just I don't know so much what to think about that. But everybody, this is the end of New York Islanders bar talk, where we were gauging our confidence based upon NHL drinks see, I just screwed up all that. Big Apple Hockey bar talk about the New York Islanders, gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drinks. But we are going to be moving on. There is no intro to play. I do have to say, once again, the trucker hats are available. Look at them on eBay. The link is below. We're actually running out of inventory on that because more people have been buying just in general. And actually, just to get a quick 10-second break, this is the other logo we're shopping for our intro. But now it's time to get Anthony's picks for the 22-23 NHL season preview. And we got to do it fast because the man is packing for a glorious vacation tomorrow. And yeah. So can't wait for you to go and enjoy that one. You and the family going all out. Anthony, first things first, out of the youth movement coming into the league, who is going to be your Calder Trophy winner?
Matty Beniers.
All right. Good call on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be one of the best crops of rookies we're going to have in a while. Philk last night went with Owen Power, and mine is Mason McTavish. So why Matty Beniers?
I mean, last year when he turned pro and came up with Seattle, he was almost like point per game, or he was like 8 points in 8 games or 8 points in 10 games, something along those lines. He's looked so good so far this preseason. He's got a good shot. He skates well. I just think it's gonna be his year.
All right. Moving on, Anthony. The Norris Trophy winner will be Cale Makar, because we have to give it to Cale Makar for every single year from now on, right?
Oh, I do. Like, for instance, when it gets to the Vezina, I'm not going to say Shesterkin. I mean, as good as he is, when was the last time you saw a goalie win a Vezina 2 years in a row? I mean, I don't even remember the last time a goalie won Vezina 2 years in a row. It was the same goalie.
Or anyone.
But
I think it might go all the way back to Brodeur.
As far as the Norris goes in relation to defensemen, I just think the league has such a hard on for Cale Makar right now. Couple that with he is really good. It is deserved. And how flashy he is and the points he puts up. I just think it's going to be Cale Makar again.
I went with Aaron Ekblad yesterday on the theory of they're going to space it out, and I think Ekblad is going to have a career year this year. I think he was right up there as a chance to win the Norris, and then he got injured and broke his leg, and then that was all she wrote. And then, hey, Mackenzie Weegar ended up picking up the slack and doing well. Anthony, I'm waiting for you to say it, and I'm so waiting for you to say it. Who will win the Vezina Trophy?
You're going to be surprised.
Oh, I am.
You're going to be surprised. I know I mentioned him earlier, and when I was talking about Sorokin, kind of had a much better regular season than him. But I'm going to go back with the big cat, Andrei Vasilevski.
Wow.
I think that he has really dominated the goalie scene for so long. I think he's a proud guy. He's a winner. I think he's ticked. Obviously, he didn't win the cup again. And I think he knows where, that his fellow Russians and Sorokin and Shesterkin have been, really the talk of the league and talking about upcoming goalies. I think that's going to motivate him to say, I'm still here and I'm still the best goalie in the National Hockey League. And I think Vasilevsky is going to take it home this year.
You shocked me. I thought you were shooing to say Ilya Sorokin.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. The Hart Trophy winner will be. Oh, by the way, sorry. Just to let you also know, I'm going to repeat the question for editing purposes. But I did say my pick is going to be UC Saros next year.
Okay.
I think his defense is incredible, and it's going to enable him to put up even better numbers. So, Anthony, the Hart Trophy winner will be.
One thing I want to say, Kirill Kaprizov. I thought what he did last year in Minnesota was worthy of a Hart, considering who he plays with and what he did. I think he's that skilled, and I think he truly is the most valuable player in the sense of the word. Whereas if you took him off the Wild, they'd be in big trouble. But I'm as long as you have Connor McDavid in this league, you can never count him out. And I'm going to say Connor McDavid.
Anthony, we have now established the rule that Connor McDavid is automatically a finalist for the Hart Trophy every single year. And you know what's going to surprise you? My answer was Kirill Kaprizov. I think he's going to score 100 points this year. Yeah. I'm going out and saying it. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I think
he's going to score 100 points this year, and he's going to be far and away the difference for the Minnesota Wild. And like those two teams, Minnesota and the Predators, might scare a lot of people and might be the more surprised teams to come out of that. Anthony, speaking about the surprise teams, what is your surprise team 22-23?
My surprise team of 22-23 will be I mean, I kind of want to say the Senators, but are they really that much of a surprise being the moves they made in the offseason and people recognizing they are going to be a lot better?
I think that qualifies them.
Yeah.
Because they're still at 73 points.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Senators. I think they'll make a big jump. I think they'll still miss the playoffs. Anton Forsberg, who actually had a good year last year on a bad team. They have Cam Talbot now, who's actually going to be out for a while. That's why they claimed Magnus Hellberg off waivers from Seattle. But so their goaltending still, maybe a little bit questionable. Their defense still needs to come a little bit of a way here with, Shabbat leading the group. But their offensive makeup in their top six is no question is really good. Norris, Batherson, Stutzla, Giroux, Kachuk, DeBrincat. So yeah, I mean they got a really good group, and I think they are going to be better. They're going to push teams in the Atlantic. They're not going to be an easy 2 points. So I'll say the Ottawa Senators.
Well, you have the Senators, you have the Red Wings, you got the Buffalo Sabres, all trying to compete to get into the playoffs next year. And there are three improved teams, and they could be vastly improved teams as well. Mine is the Vancouver Canucks. I've been riding that train the entire season. I said the Islanders were the second best team not to make the playoffs. The Vancouver Canucks are number one. I am a huge believer in Bruce Boudreau. Maybe not so much in the playoffs, but Bruce, there it is. And I would not be surprised if Vancouver not only made the playoffs, but challenged for the division. I understand their talent situation might be a little bit low, but Bruce, there it is. He does it every single stop that he's been to. So, I mean, who knows? JT Miller, if he scores 100 points. And I think, again, JT Miller was the perfect player for Vancouver, not for anywhere else. So Islander fans, be thankful you didn't get him. I'm telling you, as a Ranger fan and pundit, I saw that movie before. Anthony, going to the underrated team of 22-23.
I mean, underrated and surprised can be a little bit of the same, no?
A little bit of the same, but I think this goes closer to playoff teams that are already playoffs. And I said the playoffs a lot in that sentence.
I get you. I'm going to go with the Kings. They kind of surprised people last year, performed well. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to infuse Turcotte into the lineup. I think Quentin Byfield is just finding his footing in the league. He's a year older. I think he's going to be a better hockey player for them. They added Kevin Fiala. Don't forget that. He had a great year in Minnesota. And then naturally you still have, Anze Kopitar and Victor Arvidsson. So the Kings got a good makeup. Drew Doughty's getting a little older, but they got guys like Sean Dursey, who's been a revelation for him. And then, Jonathan Quick actually for a while was looking like he was breaking down and he was, heading downhill, but he had actually a decent year for them. And then you have Cal Peterson there as well. So I think the Kings are going to be they're going to be there again in the playoff mix, and I still think they're a little bit underrated.
My underrated team, I alluded to them before, and it's the reason why UC Saros is going to win the Vezina, in my opinion. It's the Nashville Predators. Their defense is going to be second to none. They throw 4 great defensemen at you, and then they're going to play a style that's just going to be pounding teams. John Hines, I think, was a good coach with New Jersey. They kind of just lost their way. And I'm going to talk more about the New Jersey Devils in a second, and not in a category you want to hear, Devils fans. But it's going to be, I think I just go with the Nashville Predators, and I think Roman Josi might produce even more offensively, and that will be a huge thing for everybody. Anthony, who is going to be your disappointing team at 22-23?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Agreed.
Yep. I think this is the year. I think they regret having Zucker on the roster now after acquiring him. It was a year ago, 2 years ago. And then, you have Gensel. Don't worry, he's great. Crosby's still Crosby, but again, he is getting older. He's going to slow down a little bit. Malkin, talk about slowing down. Injury concerns there. After those 3, what did they really? Brian Rust is a good piece, but I don't know. I don't like their forward makeup. I don't like their defense. And Tristan Jarry, he's better in the regular season than he is in the playoffs. But even that, I don't really think he's that good of a goalie. And they're old. They're one of the older teams in the league.
Yeah, they're going to be, like I said before, if people think they're making the Stanley Cup Finals, they're doing it in wheelchairs. As much as I believe Sidney Crosby can never be stopped, Anthony, it's just, Father Time is unbeaten. And if anything is shown, it'll happen sooner than later. This might be their last gasp. I would not be surprised if they make the playoffs as either the 3 seed or the 4 seed, maybe even the first or second wild card, which would be either one, idiot. But still, I love it when I can at least self-revise things after it comes out of my mouth. Great, that'll help the world. But no, I think it's going to be him. And Anthony, 2 more before we get to your Stanley Cup Finals picks. Who was the first coach fired?
Lindy Ruff.
Agreed.
The Devils,
I don't think he makes it to Thanksgiving.
The Devils have some expectations there. Because again, they do have a lot of young guys. They are going to be improved. So if they still don't perform with that, especially adding Palat and Hughes being a year older, and I just think if they really struggle, I think he's gone.
And I'm going to go with this for Lindy Ruff because there's a couple things that work against them. One is that they haven't done well. 2 is that Andrew Burnett is now the assistant coach for him, and that's easily his replacement. And 3, I've said this before about Andrew Burnett. Andrew Burnett for the Florida Panthers trying to win a Stanley Cup and trying to develop him as a coach wasn't going to work. A better situation for him is New Jersey. Now he can develop with the team as a coach. People always think, oh, anybody could go in and coach a team. No, not really. I think Bob Brenly in all his sports is the first year coach to win a championship. And I might be wrong on that. Chances are I'm wrong, but it's just I don't see it where Lindy Ruff makes it. I don't see where he makes the Christmas. I'm being bold by saying Thanksgiving, because the Devils are going to start behind the 8 ball. They're going to disappoint, and then they're going to say, let's try to correct this. Anthony.
If the Bruins didn't just hire him because he's a new coach, so he probably has a little bit of a leash there, and their injuries, I would say Jim Montgomery in Boston. I think Boston may not be a good team at all. But again, he's his first year, and they do have a lot of injuries with, to start with Marchand and McAvoy, so I think he'll have some rope. But I do think Boston's going to struggle.
Anthony, who is your favorite player outside the New York Islanders?
Kirill Kaprizov.
What about another one?
What?
Give me another one.
Leon Draisaitl.
Damn it! What? Don't you wear number 8?
Yeah, Alex Ovechkin.
Anthony, give me the date and the game that Alexander Ovechkin scores number 800.
So he's at 780 right now. So he's 20 goals away. I think he'll do it in December.
Me and Phil both said December. He said December 13th against the Blackhawks, and I say December 27th against the Rangers.
Okay. I didn't look at the Capitals' schedule, so I can't say per se. But yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Where do you think is it in the middle? Is it one of those 2 dates?
Early December.
Early December. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what? Against the Blackhawks would be a real good one. That's December 13th, one day before my mother's birthday. And lastly, Anthony, who is going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals and who is going to win?
I'm going to say the Calgary Flames are going to play the Carolina Hurricanes.
All right, go on.
And the Carolina Hurricanes are going to hoist Lord Stanley.
That is great news to both my friend and our contributor, Pete Mackin, and also to our former guest that was on, Jacob Slavin. So why are you picking the Carolina Hurricanes?
I mean, excuse me. Brind'Amour is a really, really good coach. He has them play that up-pace, high-tempo system. They're always in your face. They swarm you, especially at home. The Rangers saw that. They're just, Sebastian Aho is a really, really great player. I don't have to tell you that. I know he's one of your favorite players. You'd love to have him on your team.
Oh, I'd kill to have him on my team.
Yeah. So, Svechnikov is really good. Tero Toivainen's a good player. Marty Necas, they still, they added Max Pacioretty. I know he's going to be hurt in the beginning of the year. They play a good, sound defensive style led by Slavin. Brett Pesce doesn't get enough love. They added Brent Burns. Freddie Anderson is a good goalie. They're a tough team to play against. You know those games on the schedule, or when your team plays, it's like, them, because whether they don't the team has your number, or every time they just play the Hurricanes, I just always have a terrible feeling. I hate playing against them. They're really tough to play against. Just a very good team.
So why are you picking the Calgary Flames?
They got a good goaltender in Markstrom, even though he was terrible in the playoffs against Edmonton. I'll say that for sure. But in the regular season, he was great. They have, and despite losing Gaudreau and Kachuk, they still come with Huberdeau and Kadri. Not to mention they still have Elias Lindholm as a really, really good center. Backlund. They just they're a well-coached team. Sutter, they're a good team, and their defense, they got a good defense. Mackenzie Weegar, Tanev, Noah Hannafin, Oliver Shillington. They got a good group back there. And they're a rugged team. They can play fast, but they could also be physical. I know Milan Lucic is close to the same player he used to be, but he still brings a physical element there. And I like him. I like him.
Because you know what? We have 3 panelists here at Big Apple Hockey. All 3 of us picked the Calgary Flames to represent the Western Conference. And my thing, I look at the Calgary Flames, Anthony, is, my God, I thought they were the LA Kings 2.0 from 2014 last season. They're really looking like it this season. And you got a more dominant forward with Jonathan Huberdeau
either.
Yeah, and Toffoli's on this team, and so is there's another Trevor Lewis is on this team too. They look like they're going to be the
forward.
Yeah, I mean they look like they're going to be just the Kings all over again, and I really can't help but look at this and just think they're going to be going, and I think goaltending is the reason why I put them over Colorado, because I don't think Alexander Georgiev is the answer, and Francois can't do it despite what he did last year. I also think that I don't like the goaltending situation in Edmonton. I don't think there's a lot of good Stanley Cup challengers in the Western Conference. Now, that being said, I look at the East, Anthony, and I need you to do this for me and try to walk me out of this, because my pick for the Eastern Conference, take a wild guess who it was.
Florida Panthers,
New York Rangers. And my problem is, and I'm still trying to do this, Anthony, give me a team that realistically is better than the Rangers right now. And I'm trying not to be a homer.
I know you're trying, but
yes,
one, I know the Rangers ultimately, beat the Hurricanes, but the Hurricanes could still go toe to toe with the Rangers.
Okay, that's basically the only team I really see. But keep going.
They may even win the division.
I think they're going to.
Again, the Tampa Bay Lightning, don't count them out. I mean, the Lightning know what it takes to win, and they're a good team. They made the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row. They are a good hockey team. The Florida Panthers, I mean, they're a good team too. So I know it's easy to look at your team and be like, oh, they're better than them. But I mean, those are good teams. I mean, I don't know why he's including the Penguins there. The Penguins, I'm telling you, they're gonna fall flat on their face. I don't see it. Once you get to the playoffs, they're an easy out. You mop the floor with them in the playoffs. They're a different team. I don't know, but veer off from the Penguins. But yeah, the Lightning and the Hurricanes, they could give the Rangers a run for the money for sure.
I mean, now other teams that everybody wants to always put in there, Anthony, is obviously the Toronto Maple Leafs. But one thing I said to Phil last year was, can you name a team that won the Stanley Cup without winning one playoff series over a 5-year or a 10-year span? I mean, can't. I tried. And I even said this. Pittsburgh, now, by the way, I had to correct myself almost instantaneously. Pittsburgh, outside their 2 Stanley Cups, have only won one playoff series since 2014. And that's amazing when you think about that. They beat Columbus in 2014. And I mean, since then, they beat I forgot who they beat in the first round to lose to the Capitals in the second round of 2018. Other than that, they haven't won a playoff series in a while. And I know the Pittsburgh fans are still out there saying, oh, they should have beat the Rangers last year if it was for Jacob Trouba's elbow. Again, I will repeat, you had 2-0 lead in games 5 and 6 and folded, and a lead in game 7, and you folded like a deck chair. So I don't think them. I don't think the Capitals. I don't think Columbus, because teams that have won the free agency have not exactly gone on to win the next season or even realistically.
Pick up my dog. Hold on.
Oh, okay. we're having lots of dog issues all throughout this. Let me get some of your comments on here. Because again, I actually, and by the way, just to say this, I do have the Calgary Flames winning the Stanley Cup yet again. It was my prediction last year. I really believe in it this year. I can't help but look at that center group and just go, you're going Elias Lindholm, then Nazem Kadri. I don't want to be a center on another team. I mean, you're talking about two great matchup centers, not good ones. They're great. So, yeah, Chris T. Yeah, you got me. Balls. Yeah, the 2012 Kings, I don't think they beat anybody. But they certainly beat everybody. I think they were 16-3 in the playoffs, if I recall correctly, in that one. Oh, wait, 16-4, I think, because they lost 2 to the Devils. I think they lost. Nope, no, 16. I think they're 16-3. That's still amazing. That year with that team, they were just on a magic carpet ride. By the way, that was the first time a team that was the 8 seed ever played the 1, 2, 3 seeds, and the team that was the 1 seed played the 8, 7, 6 seeds. The difference was the Kings beat all their teams. The Rangers lost to the Devils, who were the 6th seed that year. So, and Chris, see, you know what? It's just, great minds think alike. That's all it is. They might have beat the Isles if Jerry didn't pass yeah. In state, I keep saying that all the time. It's just, I actually think Tristan Jarry had money on the Islanders. That was one of the greatest assists I've ever seen. Somebody just put it right on someone's stick. Because after all, every coach all throughout Pee-wees all the way on always say, pass the puck up the middle of the ice. And especially in the defensive zone, they always say, pass the puck up the middle of the ice. The staring is in case if you can't tell my sarcasm. Yeah, D is easy. Thanks, Chris T. So Toronto again. It's just with Toronto. Can you really love their goaltending? Their goaltending is sparse. Like it's just. And sparse isn't even the right word. That's more like a rarity, or just their goaltending sucks. You're telling me, Chris? You're telling me Matt Murray is going to play 40 games plus 30 playoff games? Not a chance. I mean, Matt Murray is closer to Cam Ward than he is to Mike Vernon, who won a cup with the Calgary Flames and then won a cup with the Detroit Red Wings 8 years later. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then by the way, Chris Osgood did the same thing. I think it was a decade apart for him. But it's just, no, sorry, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Don't know why I had to sing that one. I mean, if you guys, by the way, I know 5-on-5 scoring. We talked about it last night on the Rangers preview. I'm still trying to find the team that I could really look at and go, oh yeah, by the way, CJ, I can understand that feeling. But yeah, I just think once again, you got a lot of quality teams in the East, and then once the Islanders get in, they're a tough out because of Sorokin. And they're going to be a real tough out because of Ilya Sorokin. And of course, we'll see how that defense plays. Because that's another thing too. Oh, we had flashed Anthony. He's back.
Yeah, my dog got picked up.
All right. So we'll do some quick Q&A for you and get you out of here.
I heard you just said if the Islanders get in, they're then a problem because they're built for playoff hockey. So if you get in, then really all bets are off.
And especially that you have Ilya Sorokin in the pipes.
Yeah.
Because when you get those guys that they just they'll turn it up. And it took Igor Shesterkin 4 games to do it, but he eventually caught up with playoff hockey, and I mean, the results speak for themselves. So let's get some more questions. Oh, hey Anthony, how about this one? Thoughts on Logan Mailloux signing his ELC today?
I mean, I mean, everyone deserves a second chance, right? So, I mean, and to be specific, what he did was he posted a picture of a girl that he hooked up with. Correct? That's what he did. That
I
was
think
his
so,
story.
yeah.
So it's not. I mean, it's not cool, and I'm not making light of it, but it's not like he beat the shit out of a woman near to death. There was a kid sharing something that he shouldn't have, to say, "Oh, look, guys, look what I." So it's disrespectful, and I'm sure he regrets it, but I don't think it's something that the guy should be blackballed for and never be able to play again because he did it.
Well, there's what I will say, because we have to make sure that this is out of our culture completely. First off, don't do anything like that again. Don't be a person that actually talks about people that you shouldn't be doing that, because I mean, there is such a thing as revenge porn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just, you better make sure you're an upstanding citizen. You got to have your media training. You got to be doing all this. It's not just going to be a simple "I'm sorry" and it's over. So just understand that you're going to be playing with that for the rest of your career. And he did say last year that he didn't want to be drafted, and basically he took a year off, and now he's signing his ELC. We'll see about it. We'll see about it. That's the only thing to say about that. Chris T is asking, what's Jason Robertson's contract going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I heard that it's. I mean, they're not exactly like close. So I'm really. I know we had a bar talk segment on this, but said he wouldn't miss any games, but
We're 1 week away.
Yeah, I may be wrong on that. I mean, there's still a lot of time, but I mean, listen, this is a guy that's probably 23 years old, 41 goals. He sees the contracts that Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou just signed. So at the very least, as a starting point, you're talking $8 million on a long-term deal, maybe even a little bit more. I mean, I don't know what Barzel's contract now, what affects what he says about that or whatnot, but yeah, he's a really, really good player. Dallas needs to get him signed and in camp, and so he can start to catch up. But he's a really, really good player, and I think that Dallas should do whatever they can to get him signed. I mean, I know they have like $6 million change of cap space, so they're probably going to have to move a body, especially if they're giving them $8 million. But this is something they should have prioritized. I mean, they should have tried to get this done much earlier. And I know sometimes things happen like this. William Nylander basically went down to the deadline where if he didn't sign, he was not going to be able to play at all. He signed like on the last available day. What is that for RFAs? It's like December
8th or something like that.
Yeah. So they need to get him signed. But I'm if they go long term, it's going to be 8 years, and it's going to be $8.5, $9 million a year.
Wicked is saying, I'm trying to understand a guy who I was arguing with. He kept insisting to me that the Trotz system is not a defensive system and kept pointing to the Capitals. I got to disagree with that guy. I know he's pointing to the Capitals, but the Trotz system is, I know it relies on a heavy forecheck, but it's not, it's defensive responsibilities first. Don't point to the Capitals, point to his years with the Predators. He was always the defense first guy.
Yeah, always defense first guy. The same with the Capitals is obviously when you have a Hall of Famer like Ovechkin, you give him the benefit of the doubt and you give him some freedom. So that's why the Capitals under Trotz still scored goals. It's not like under the Islanders where Trotz didn't have Ovechkin type talent, so he really, really had to be really strict with a defense first mentality. In Washington, he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean I don't know why this metaphor comes in my head, but it's sort of like that'd be like saying the Colts were a ball control offense with Peyton Manning because Tony Dungy was there. Like, no, I think that metaphor is off, though. I think I screwed that one up. No need to worry about the Leafs in the playoffs because they have to handle themselves. Oh, Alex, how are we doing? Rangers are built for the playoffs with guys like Reeves, whose job is to hurt people. They caught the Pens flat-footed with their physical style. Nah, I mean, they did, but also they were getting healthy later on in that playoff run. That was another thing. CJ is saying, put them on the ice with lost. All right. Wait, which guy's Roscoe? Anthony?
Ross Johnson.
Okay, there you go. Oh,
yeah,
he is a big fella.
I wish
actually, let's get this.
I wish that was the case, but I can assure you it's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, yikes. That is it. And yeah, the Calder picks, Chris T, Matty Beniers is Anthony's that you have right there. Mine was Mason McTavish, and Philks last night was Owen Power, which again, it's going to be all good ones. This is a better one from CJ. Now that Barry's signed, sorry, my mistake. Now that Barzy signed a good deal and wants to be with my Isles, Lou needs to go get him a top scoring winger. I will say, I'll still stay and want us to get Timo Meier somehow. You know, it's not far-fetched for Timo Meier. I think that's the best way to say it because a lot of guys are getting money in San Jose, Anthony.
He's going to be a RFA this summer, but I don't see the Sharks. I mean, maybe if on how he died, they probably want to build around him and Hurdle, but I think he'll eventually be re-signed. But if he was moved, it wouldn't be until the summer, a summer type move. So now, right now, nobody, Chris. What you see is what you got. But if they're a good team, come the trade deadline, I mean, I don't know, you pick a name. Whoever's available at the deadline, the forward, Lou's going to be involved. That's all. I mean, again, names like Tarasenko, he's a pending UFA, but again, the Blues expect to be good. I don't know if they'll move him by a deadline. You know, we talked about Patrick Kane. That's probably a long shot. So who knows? I mean, it really all depends on who's bad and who's out of it come the deadline. But I think Lou's certainly going to be in the mix for Tarasenko in the summertime. During the season, I just don't think he's going to get traded.
And yeah, it's going to be a talent-rich draft. So Lou may be thinking that if they're better than they're going to be last year, he will restock. That's what Alex is saying right there. By the way, Alex, welcome to the show. Tarasenko is a good name that CJ threw out there. And you know what? Tarasenko might be one of those guys. If the Blues are good, they might want to move him sooner than later. That way they don't have to, because he's not staying. We all know this. And I know that they're going to be good. And actually, I think with him, they could be great. But they're not going to be able to afford both him and Riley. So,
yeah.
Ryan O'Reilly, I should say. ROR.
Yeah, and see, I agree with you, but let's just face it, it's not happening. It's going to stay status quo until the trade deadline. I mean, I don't want to say never because stuff moves happen, but now is not the time that you really see a trade like that go down. I mean,
no, your earliest you might see is a little condensation from my iced coffee was on there.
I mean, Gar Snow did the Molson for Vanek trade in October or early November, but that's not the norm.
That's way early. That was way early, and I can't believe they pulled that off.
Yeah. I mean, and kudos to Snow for realizing his team wasn't playing well, and he knew he wasn't going to keep Molson, and he made a move. Didn't work out in the long run, but I credit it for trying and getting that elite talent at the time. But yeah, I don't see Lou doing anything like that, CJ. We're going to have to wait to the deadline. I know you don't like it. I don't like it, but it's what's. And again, I said things can happen, but I would be floored if something like that happened right now.
That was one of those perfect storms when that happened. You had two teams that could not afford players that they wanted to keep. It doesn't happen very often. And I mean, hell, the Bruins ended up losing Johnny Boychuk, and they were off a President's Trophy winning team, I think, that year. So let's see. Mike, I think that's almost a little unfair, but I think he needs to modernize a little bit. But so we'll take some more questions going forward. Oh wait, here you go. This is wicked right here. If I'm Lou, I'm doing everything I can to keep my first round pick unless it's for pasta. And any team that gets him, I would tell you right now, they better have another contract ready to go.
Yeah, I would. I mean, he's a name though. If the Bruins are a bad team come the deadline, they're gonna have to make an interesting decision on him.
Wow, we got actually a lot of good questions. What happened with Puljujärvi yesterday? I'm assuming this is Jesse Puljujärvi.
Yeah, he spelt it like Magnus Pavari. He used to play for the Oilers. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about him.
All right, well, we'll take a look into that one. That one kind of came out of nowhere on me.
Also, keep in mind that the waivers is at 2, by the way, now instead of 12. But it was light. It was light today, but in the next tomorrow and the day after, there's going to be probably a lot of guys put on waivers as teams get their rosters set for the start of the season.
D is asking, what if the Islanders are losing close games? Does Lou go out and get someone to put them over the top? If they're losing close games, I think they're going to focus on defense. That's just what I think. Not really get a particular player. What do you think?
No, I would disagree. I mean, if they're losing 2-1 games, it's not your defense; it's the scoring.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I don't know. Again, I really don't see Lou doing anything right now.
Well, we got Alex again asking, think Barzel is the number one center, or do they just need to get him some scoring? Yes, they do. They need to get him better wingers. But Barzell is definitely number one center.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put him on any other team in the league, number one center. How cloudy is it outside, Anthony?
It's very cloudy.
Yeah, I know. It's like usually you have a lot more natural light in there. So
yeah, it's raining. It's dark.
Yeah, I'm getting none of that right now in Hicksville, I think. So as I go, I went and I looked outside. Like, I mean, you usually have tons of light in that room.
Yeah. The Islanders waived Dennis Pulaski today. So he's a name on the waiver wire.
Richie, how you doing today? And the answer on that is, I believe 24-25 is when the cap goes up. And there's a lot of numbers that are interesting about the cap going up, that it likely can go up. I think, Anthony, I heard as high as 92 million.
Yeah, 92 million. Mark, what Rangers do you expect to get put on waivers in the next couple of days before the season starts here?
God, I hope it's Jimmy Vesey. I don't think it's
Jimmy Vesey, Mark, is on a PTO. He can't be placed on waivers. He's just simply released from his PTO.
Okay.
So who do you expect to be actually waived?
I mean, I'm counting their forwards right now. They got 13 forwards. Julian Gauthier would be my candidate. Julian Gauthier and Dryden Hunt would be my two candidates right there, because, I mean, Julian Gauthier is probably number one because he's like almost persona non grata. So there is Matt Bartowski and Jimmy Vesey that's on the PTOs that are right over there, as we did say. So thanks for correcting me on that, because sometimes I need help with the CBA stuff. It's definitely not Sammy Blais, I'll tell you that. And it's definitely not going to be Vitaly Kravtsov, because...
Well, isn't Vitaly Kravtsov still waiver exempt?
Yeah, but it's a one-way deal, I think.
One way only means they get paid the same salary whether they're in the AHL or NHL. One way doesn't have anything to do with waiver exempt.
Well, I'll tell you what, the reason why I'm saying it like that is they don't have to worry about it, because if they send him to Hartford, he's gone. He's not going to Hartford. I mean, it's just that simple with him. I I scoffed at it last year, Anthony. I didn't think it was going to happen, and then suddenly it did. And then now I can't help but say,
I think he's exempt. I don't think he has to go through waivers. I think he could just be sent down. But maybe I'm wrong. I do expect Julian Gauthier to hit the waiver wire in the next day or so, though.
it's got to be Gauthier, and I don't think Gauthier is.
David's saying Krasov does have to pass through waivers.
Yeah.
So yeah,
again,
the Rangers would not do that then, because for what he makes, someone would probably take a flyer on him. You would think.
And CJ, I'll look that up in a second. If the Devils don't improve, do you make changes or give it another year?
I mean, they still have a young team. The changes would come at the coaching level. It wouldn't come at the roster level.
And both of us picked the first coach to be fired, Lindy Ruff.
Yeah.
Jack Hughes is trending right now, by the way. Let me check on that. And of course, you know what the good part is? We see right away the first comment on Jack Hughes is our own John Falkowski talking about his edge work. And Jesper Bratt's improvement isn't just playing with Jack Hughes, it's his edge work. So that's good to hear.
We did talk about Jason Robertson. Still unsigned in Dallas. If you're a Stars fan, you're obviously a little anxious right now, the fact that he hasn't been re-signed. I'm still a little surprised they didn't make it more of a priority to get this deal done. But I don't know. I'm at a loss.
I'm befuddled by that too, Anthony. Like, how is that possible? By the way, the Oilers are $7 million over the cap right now.
Yeah, they have work to do.
And by the way, just to say for the record, just trying to figure out Puljujärvi's name. I mean, the spelling on that's all over the place. So it's totally fine figuring it all out. Let's see. So far, not hearing anything about him that was anything bad. Saying that his defense got a little bit better. All right, not anything for Puljujärvi. I don't say. The people saying that he deserves a chance. That's about it.
Yeah, I gotta assume that it would be possible that the Oilers would trade him, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sold on it 100%. I do know they need to get under the cap. I don't know what they're going to do that, but.
And the Wild will have extra because they'll be out of the cap hell by then. Yeah. Almost getting closer.
I'm gonna pack in and get rid of start to do some stuff.
Hey, it's totally all right. Hey, I'm happy you were able to do an hour and 48, and you know what? Yeah, you're off to a much happier place. So yeah, you go ahead, go enjoy it, and enjoy your vacation. Thank you for all the Islander knowledge that you bestowed upon everybody.
Anytime.
And I can't wait to cut together the NHL preview with this.
So. Next Wednesdays, there's going to be our first show with all three of us back, right?
All three of us back.
All right.
The band's back together.
Hopefully, I'll be a lot more tan.
Yeah, but with us not doing a show in the meantime, or maybe I'll try to do one, just that way you could call in shirtless again.
Yeah. So. I'm going to the Bahamas, the Atlantis. I actually won the trip. So let's just say I'm a little bit of a degenerate gambler. When sports betting became legal in New York, I immediately signed up for Caesars Sportsbook, and I hit early. It was like a $25 bet, and I won like $1,700. So that enabled me to play with house money, really. So I started making larger bets, like a $500 bet. I forget what it was, and that $500 bet hit, and I think I won like 3,000 or something like that. And then yeah, so I just built up a nice little bank there and kept moving up the rewards tiers of Caesar's Rewards. And it got to the point where you get like a complimentary 5-night stay at the Atlantis. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And what's Anthony doing? He's taking the wife and kids and going right up there, or down there, I should say.
Yeah, and they like I said, I've never been there before, but apparently it's really nice. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it's much needed. It's much needed, especially after I think most people know we've been doing the show for a while with losing my mom in April. That was really rough, and even the 2 months prior to that was really hard too. So it's been it's been a tough road. So to get away and just kind of relax and just forget about everything. I'm definitely welcoming it for sure. So
well, anybody deserves a holiday. It's definitely you, man.
And yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you very much for that, Wicked. That's it's not to get too far off topic or sappy or whatnot, but it's losing. I knew it was gonna be tough, but losing your mom is something that I guess it's just hits different. It's it's your mom.
I'm the only panelist that's on here that still is fortunate enough to have both of his parents. Although my father's threatened to go several times. But it's something that I hope I don't have to worry about for a while. And more power to you even for being strong enough to get through it. So
yeah, and honestly, you just never know. I'm glad you still have your parents, and and sometimes like when I'm feeling down about it, my mom was 71, and then I think to myself, like, people like Phil lost their mom when she was in her. I mean, he was 18, so I'd imagine she was probably in her early 50s, and I think, wow, that's even like so much worse. So I understand, as much as it sucks for me. I know there are people that have had lost their mom or whoever much earlier in life. So it's it's. So yeah, it sucks either way. I guess supporting it, no matter what. But it's just, it's.
Like, I mean, same thing. Like you said, my cousin Phil, he passed when he was, I think, 50, 57, 58, something like that. He's the one who I play the outro song "Bye Bye" for, and that was one of his songs. And prostate cancer just took him way too early. And he had 2 teenage daughters that were behind. So it's just you're fortunate to have the ones you love as long as you can.
I really appreciate that, Guntu, and I hope everything is well, your mom, and prayers up for that, and hopefully she gets into better health, because at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, you really don't have anything. That's why I always say so. And I'm sorry for your loss, Wicked. That's tough. That's real tough. That's a young age, big influence at that point in your life. So sorry for that. That must have been really, 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 really hard. So I feel for you.
Like, and it's sometimes it's like, I don't want to use the word guilty, because I'm almost guilty for having all my my grandparents. I think I lost one at my father's father died at 48. That was about it. But, I mean, I'm fortunate in the situation I'm in, because I don't get not many people get to have that anymore in any way. So,
and see, this is what I mean. Like, that's so much unimaginably worse. Like, that's terrible. So that's why sometimes I feel bad that I'm even feeling bad, and sort of speak, because I do think of other people who've, lost their mom at a much younger age or whatever. But but yeah, that's really hard. I can't even fathom that. So, and it says 30. I'm 37, so I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Mike. It's never.
And I always kind of say with you, your mom's still with you every single day. You're with your kids, and every single day that you're just trying to be a good husband. That's what you carry on their legacy. That's what you're always going to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but anyway, to get rolled into that. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting away and just relaxing for a little bit. So, yeah. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to being back next. So I get back Tuesday night. So Wednesday night, our first show with all three of us back together.
Can't wait for it.
And there's
no games either. So
yeah,
that'll also be good.
The season will have already been started at that point, right? Because
the Rangers begin Tuesday night, and actually the Islanders are going to have a game that night.
The 13th. So. No, that's the 12th. I get back the 11th. The 12th is a Wednesday. We're doing our show on the 12th. 13th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I had my dates mixed up.
The regular season actually starts on Friday. The Predators and the Sharks in Prague.
Yeah, and it's one of those things I keep forgetting that's happening on Friday. Oh, and you know what, Anthony? Really quick, one quick thing we still haven't talked about. How about Roman Josi scoring in Switzerland?
Yeah, that's cool. That was awesome for him, from being Swiss and being able to go there. I'm sure it'll feel even better if he scores in a regular season game. But yeah, good for him. And don't forget about that game, 2:00 on Friday. The season kicks off, afternoon game, so probably be a little bit of a weird time for people on a Friday at 2:00. But and it's also preseason games are still going on while they play their regular season game. So
that's odd. I mean, the Rangers conclude their preseason tonight. I'm going to watch that, so I can't wait for that. And
yeah,
the
Rangers
just started up out of nowhere.
The Rangers play the Islanders on Saturday, which is a preseason game, but yet the Sharks and the Predators will play their second game against each other on Saturday.
I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that the Rangers had one more preseason game after that.
Saturday against the Islanders.
All right. I can guarantee I am not paying any attention to that game, or at least I better not be, because there's supposed to be some playoff baseball in New York. So God help MLB. I will kill them all if they don't make it 2 primetime games this weekend. So that will drive me up a wall. That will drive me crazy. You want a day game? Put it on. Don't do it on Sunday either. Just 3 straight games. I hate this best of 3 first round anyway. Yeah. All right, Anthony, go run along. Right. I'm probably gonna do another.
I'll see you guys later.
15 minutes myself.
All right.
Enjoy your trip. Our world traveler, Mr. Anthony Larocco. Let me answer some more of these questions that you guys got from me right here. And yeah, Richie, I know the Devils, there's so much of positivity feeling. I don't think they're going to get off to a good start, and they're going to end up removing Lindy Ruff from there. And and I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, Chris Frost, you're killing me on that. I got to make a shirt that says like Justin somebody. Probably Justin Huberto, but State, you really said it right there. Devils don't have a real goalie, and I still don't think they do. Because look, Vitek Vanacek and Mackenzie Blackwood both have never been healthy, and for that matter, Jonathan Bernier either. So there's another one. Justin Hayek for the Heart. Oh my goodness, Justin Hayek would be a lot better than Libor. Although I still say it over and over again, the only Hayek I want even near the New York Rangers is Selma, because I will welcome Selma Hayek anywhere. So, Justin Pugliarvi. Well, Vegas has to trade someone for this year. You can't buck tradition. Yes. I mean, they gotta trade for the most shiny toy. That's what they always have to do. Justin Pugliarvi, waiting to see Hughes plays with Calgary. I tell you what, he's got an 8-year deal. He better play good. But I think he might get a boost from Calgary being so like more of a hockey town. And I just look at that center depth. They're gonna be real good. I don't know what the fine is for being over the cap, but we're gonna find out soon enough. There are still right now, boys. There are still 10 teams that are over the cap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wow. And the Vegas Golden Knights are $15 million over the cap. And what I think a few years ago, what they did was they dressed certain people at certain times. I don't know. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights, looking at their cap friendly spots, Robin Leonard is on IR. Shea Weber is on long-term IR. Injured reserve is Nolan Patrick and Nicholas Hague. So there's 2 other ones, and they got to sign Hague. He's one of those free agents that they got to get under. Geez, they're in a precarious situation, to say the least. And I drafted Logan Thompson for fantasy, so can't wait to see that one. By the way, we concluded our poll that we had up here. The New York Islanders, are they a playoff team? And a resounding 53% said no. So we'll see about that one. Hopefully that'll still be. Hopefully the Islanders pick up and get in there. Patrick saying Anthony is the man. Yeah, Anthony is the man. Philk right there. Or wait. Oh, maybe Anthony's not the man. No, Anthony's still the man. Have fun on vacation, Anthony. And he did say where you're going. Remember how the Rangers got off to a slow start when they played in Sweden? Here we are in Europe again. Watch that. Well, that's the Rangers don't start. I think they start in the Garden, don't they? I might be wrong now. I might have to go research all that now. David saying, welcome to the Winners Club. I won tickets to the All-Star game last year. The only problem was that I couldn't make it because I had surgery 3 days prior to the event. Yeah. Fortunately, somebody else was able to take those tickets. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. The only problem for that was in my case, I had 20 hours of flight delays because I had a trip planned for Nashville. And then I ended up going from Nashville to Charlotte's. Then I booked a new flight with a connecting flight, which was JFK. And then 20 hours of flight delays. David saying, make sure that they, wait, you want him to leave the wife and kids and go meet a scuba instructor. Gonna say a little bit of Along Came Polly reference. So let's see where we are. Hey, Anthony, who the hell is Gustav Riedel? I actually really didn't even think of who that was for a second. So good thing I know Anthony is still watching. So he's going to comment on that right now. Gustav Riedel. I'm having trouble trying to figure out who that is. It's like Judge freaking Reinhold. This is great. This is dead air. There's lots of it. All right, let me get all the way to the bottom. He's in the mix for the 4th line center. Okay, thanks. That's the reason why, because I haven't seen most of the games, and I was at the Devils game and I was wasted for that one. So, all right. Hopefully I'll be able to answer that question for you later on, because I'll be watching the game without being drunk. So that'll be a help. Thank you, Anthony. I can see you looking at me right now. Musics, I'll give you a better thought on that later. I still think it's going to be Barclay Goodrow as the 3rd line center. that's why I kind of don't even think about guys like Carl Henriksen, who was trying to make the team, or this is like one of the prospects I wasn't even thinking about. There are those guys you read the list and you say, oh, hey, that guy's got a shot at making it. And then I didn't think, see, I don't think he should beat out Carpenter because Carpenter just signed as a free agent. You're just wasting money then. So let's see if Carpenter, there's some guys that are really down on Carpenter. There was a guy that was kind of flipping out about Carpenter the other day on NHL Network. Yeah, 750,000. I don't know if the Rangers are going to eat that just like that. Oh, hey, Donnell. I know you guys are both Dolphins and Bills fans, but what do you think of the New York area football, Jets and Giants? And my answer on that is I'll be going to the Jet game versus the Dolphins this week. A friend of mine who is a huge Jet fan and season ticket holder has talked me into going to the game with him. We're both bartenders in Wantagh, and he'll be operating on 5 hours of sleep, and I'll be operating on 4 hours of sleep, or maybe 3. So that'll be fun. Hopefully I get in there and have a good time and not fall asleep at the game, because that would be good. The answer on that is the Giants are kind of an underwhelming 3-1, and the Jets are, I think there's more promise with the Jets at 2-2. I think their defense has played a lot better. If they had any quarterback play, I think the Jets could have been obviously 3-1 as well, because Joe Flacco was just utter garbage when he was playing. And I also think a little bit of the paper tiger was Baltimore, and you're kind of starting to see that, because if Baltimore, if the Jets, again, if the Jets had any quarterback play, Baltimore would have lost to all 3 AFC East teams that they played so far. So not a big believer in Baltimore for a lot of reasons. So Carpenter wins faceoffs, and yes, that's going to be important. I'm going to probably see the Gustav tonight. Thanks very much, Musics. I was right behind the 8 ball on that one. Like, geez. So Dawn cares about money. Yes, that's true. Carpenter is a great 4th line center option. He wins faceoffs on both sides of the ice. That is very true. By the way, we got Big Apple hockey stickers that are available now. I don't know what I'm doing with them yet. I mean, I would love to send them out to everybody. So, I definitely know I put them with the hats. So you order a hat, you get a sticker too. No, Baltimore, yeah, but yeah, Baltimore would have lost the Pats. Yeah. Donnell's asking, locally, where do you see the 3 teams being in the Metro division of the Islanders, Rangers, and Devils? And yes, actually, by the way, Mike, I would love to get Big Apple hockey tumblers. This is sort of my cheat for it right now. I keep shopping around right now for a good price. I have a Shopify store, but I'm not exactly thrilled with it right now. I'm waiting to see what's going on with that. But Donnell's asking, locally, where do you see the 3 teams being in the Metro division of the Rangers, Islanders, and Devils? Realistically, I'm going to say the Rangers are going to take 2nd place, and the Islanders could sneak in the 4th spot or even the 3rd spot, hopefully the 4th, so that way the Rangers don't have to play them in the first round. And I think the Devils are going to be behind Columbus, and I think behind Washington. I think Washington's going to have the drop off. So I'll put the Devils at, is that 6? I think it's at 6. And it sounds like it might be offensive, but I do have the Devils improving in points. I'll say they get to the 80s. And the whipping boy of that division is going to be the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't even know what the hell is going to be happening with that team. Iowa Wild, they're going to be awesome this year. Granny is saying so many good young guys. And yes, because the Wild, they're going to have to rely on their young guys. They have $12 million worth of cap penalties and $14 million the next 2 years. Hopefully they get out of cap hell soon. And right now you got to say that Bill Guerin is doing a great job given the cap problems that he's dealing with. I mean, he inflicted it on himself, and even Ryan Suter couldn't believe that that nobody was there. Hi again, Brian. Gonna get to you in 1 second. Everyone has said that the Jets have more talent than the Giants, and the Giants have better coaching than the Jets. Well, the Giants, I'll tell you what, I kind of said this before about Vitaly Kravtsov, or last night during our Ranger special of that Office Space joke about, okay, so what do you say you do here? I say that almost to Daniel Jones. Like, what does Daniel Jones really do for the Giants? He runs a little bit. That's about it. He's not a proficient passer. He holds on to the ball too long, takes too many sacks, and like the Giants should be done with him sooner than later. I just don't see how that's going to happen on that. Zach Wilson, well, he brings a hot mom and her friends, and then after that, he could be a little bit inaccurate, but he also has more talent than Jones for sure. I would go with him, but it's just, as far as the Jets go, I wouldn't exactly condemn Saleh and his coaching, but I think Jets could be a lot better, and they're gonna tie the Dolphins this weekend in record. I'm already saying it. If the Dolphins somehow win with Teddy Bridgewater, a quarterback who, I mean, he was good a couple years ago when he was with the Saints, and I like Teddy Bridgewater as a backup quarterback, but I mean, I wasn't exactly sold on Tua. The guy's made of glass and showing it right now. And I feel so bad for him because it's like the Dolphins are playing weekend at Bernie's with Tua Tagovailoa. So I almost called him Tagliavoa. That would have been worse. Moving on. No way Baltimore would have lost the Pats. Yeah, we need the Big Apple hockey tumblers. I'm shopping around for them, looking for a good one. So what do I think? So Mike is asking, so what do you think of the Eichel curse? Will it finally come to an end? Mike? No, it won't. I'm looking at the Western Conference. Here's one of the problems I have with that. Now, it's one big thing is it Logan? Was it Logan Thompson? Is that who the Vegas goalie is? I should know. I drafted him in fantasy. Yes, it is Logan Thompson. The question is, can Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill really take a lot of games and a lot of pressure off that team? I don't think they're going to. Bruce Cassidy, great coach. I just don't know what exactly they're going to be doing over there. See, it's hard for me to I want to put a pin in Vegas, and a matter of fact, I'm going to. My surprise team is the Canucks. I think if the Canucks had another, if they got Boudreaux in tow 2 weeks earlier, they were the fourth playoff team, not just Vegas. So it's going to be. I just don't think Eichel's. I don't know when Eichel might ever play a playoff game, to be honest with you, because after this year, is Vegas going to be anywhere near anyone? Like they're kind of sinking like a rock because they got just looking at their forwards. You got Mark Stone, who's going to be 31 in May next year. But you got Eichel at 25 making 10 million. You have Stone making 9.5. And then they have 5.9 for Carlson, 5 for Marchessault, 5. They kind of got their money in Pietrangelo, Stone, and Eichel. And I just don't know. They're $15 million over the cap right now. And they got, well, at least they got their first round pick this year and next. So look, Kelly McCrimmon's got a job he's got to do. I don't know how he's going to do it. So Carpenter wasn't impressive at all. He hasn't done well in faceoffs. He scores less than Hunt and Gauthier, which, wow, I don't even know if that's possible. Sam down at Hartford, like Goudreau plays center. And the Flyers, no one is healthy. No one is healthy. Kevin Hayes is healthy, but you kind of wish he wasn't. So I've never been a Kevin Hayes fan. Never been a Kevin Hayes fan. But yeah, a good enough player. It's just, don't want to look at his game face. Wicked is saying the whole concussion saga with Tua made the league look so bad and look very bad for the league. Yes. I mean, it's just no. You can't have it that way. And this is the problem I have with the concussion evaluation, because they got the spotters and everything, but sooner or later there's going to be teams trying to exploit the rules just for competitive balance, and whether it's in a good way or a bad way. I mean, and again, players' health should always be paramount. If it's for their health, it should be paramount. And that's why last year with all the COVID restrictions, it was all over the place. And also, I want to see quarterbacks that know how to avoid a hit. That's why I think the running quarterback is a little bit more of a fad. I mean, just because, like, I love Lamar Jackson, but if that guy's, I keep saying that guy's going to have the shortest, best career, which isn't true because Gale Sayers still will always have that. I mean, that guy had a great career and a movie. So, but I worry about like Lamar Jackson every time he dives head first, and a lot of guys keep doing that. And you get the guys that are sensible, that know how to slide. Like, take, for instance, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes. I wonder what they all have in common. Oh, they played baseball. So, I still don't understand that one, how NFL players don't know how to slide. Maybe Vegas will trade Jack Eichel and retain salary just to be cap compliant. Oh, my God. If Jack Eichel has to get traded again, that would just be just absolutely horrific. 250 right now, guys. I'm going to start the song at 255. I have already gone 5 minutes over. Yeah, and no, Sayers is in the Hall of Fame. I think he used to say, "Give me 6 inches of daylight." That was his great quote. He that you ever look at the highlight films of Gale Sayers, that man. And there's a reason why with the Bears, there's a great argument on who's the greatest Bears running back of all time. Is it Walter Payton? Is it Gale Sayers? Is it let's see, we have Red Grange, obviously. There's another one. By the way, everybody, Mike is reminding me about this. He reminded me about it before. Everybody, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to have more videos coming on out. Actually, since I have your attention in the comments, guys, throw down any ideas for top 10 lists you would like to see. I'll try to get more out there. We already did the video games, which I always love. I did the top 10 underpaid players. So I would love to get more of those, because they're always good. And we got the new, and also, yeah, everybody, boo, Ekblad. I'm just terrible at pimping myself out. That's where I really need somebody to help me out with that. Yeah, I kind of hate how the roughing the passer calls in the NFL, hitting the quarterback is costing a team a penalty. Yeah, but once everybody adjusts that, then they know where the strike zone is. You got to hit the middle of the body. You can't hit them below the knee. And you can't hit them at the head. We'll call the head the Troy Aikman rule, the knee the Brady rule. And just always that's what they got to be doing. Devin Hester is the greatest running back in history. Actually, Devin Hester was a cornerback and a wide receiver. He was the greatest punt returner in history / kick returner. So after all, he opened the Super Bowl with a touchdown. I mean, I think he's the only player ever to return the opening kick for a touchdown. So, yes, Brian, we covered it. You can go all the way back to the beginning. That was actually the first breaking news that we had. And it's a clear indication of the Islanders actually keeping their athletes, which will help the Islanders down the road. Can't say that enough. Dave is saying, top 10 times Mark fumbled an athlete's name. Oof. I'll have to look for all those. I actually have an outtake reel of just my narrations for the other video. There's a lot of cursing, I'll tell you that. Top 10 overrated, or even if I want to do the overpaid players, that's a good one. I should look at, Granny. I should do that. Do I think Zach Wilson can be a franchise quarterback? He's in his second year. He could be. So, Have you ever done top 10 draft day trades in the NHL? That is a great question. Because here's my question. Does Eric Lindros fall into that one? So that one I'll have to discuss with Anthony and Phil because we're going to need to talk about that one. Yeah. Granny, by the way, thank you very much. Enjoy. Yeah, Dave, I did do that. Well, Lindros would be number one if it counts. And the other thing, because the other thing is it was two different trades, and the guy that had to decide was it Larry Bertuzzi? But Todd Bertuzzi's uncle had to decide. And the Rangers had a trade in place, and so did. I mean, Phil is like the expert on that one, so I have to ask him about that. Donnell is saying I kind of hate the same comment from before. Sorry about that. Wilson needs to focus. Wilson needs to leave the MILFs alone and focus on football. Ouch, David. Top 10 Ranger headaches is what David is saying, or Mike is saying. I'm sorry. Mike, NYR for life. Yeah, there's a couple good ones out there. I got to figure out what the next one is. Maybe overpaid, because I have to now. You do underpaid, you do overpaid. Where are the people taking everyone to jail? If you overcook chicken, jail. Overcook fish, jail. Undercook chicken, jail. You missed a dental appointment, jail. Top 10 teammates hated each other. There's a good one. That one I have to do a little bit of research on because, and again, Phil's got a bunch of those. I guarantee it. But there's got to be some. There, I have to make sure on that based on reports. Because one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to be a rumor mill here. Let me just say, there's another YouTube channel that gets a lot of views. That's a bit of a rumor mill. I'm not doing that. I don't want to be a rumor mill. And it drives me crazy because then guys are getting 10,000 views for Patrick Kane rumors. And I'm just like rolling my eyes because I don't want to cover that. Or the ones that keep talking about Anthony D'Angelo stealing Keandre Miller's puck. It didn't happen, people. So Tony D is probably near the top of the list in the top 5. I would not be surprised. But here's the thing. When a guy's your teammate, he's usually at least a good egg at that time. It's just when he's not your teammate anymore. We're at 256 right now. I'm going to wait a few more minutes and start up the goodbye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Time to go. We're going to have this uploaded for iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. That we're also on that. We're going to be launching a TikTok page. I roll my eyes just thinking about it, everybody, because I am not a TikTok fan. And I think I just saw Anthony look back at the camera like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm going to have to do stuff like that because everybody's got attention spans about the length of a goldfish these days. That's why I appreciate all of you, from Mike, who's been here from minute 1 today, David, who's been here from minute 1. Don Murdoch would be. David, oh my goodness, David coming down with the fire on that one. Top 10 wives Shanahan slept with. Ouch. I can neither confirm. I am just reading a comment, everybody. It is not the opinions of Big Apple Hockey or anyone in. It's just, just where it is. Oh no, Steven just chimed in. Yeah. Oh wow. Hey, how about that, Steven? It also was great seeing you this weekend. Twice actually. But yeah, Dark Horse Calder Trophy winner William Ekblad. Yeah, I like Ekblad and I like him in San Jose. They were raving about him last year. Steven, you coming in the last 5 minutes yet again. I only got 9 people on right now. But yeah, good seeing you. Good seeing you right there. Yeah, because I already did 2 hours and 24 minutes. I wish he is. And after all, he was 3 years a rookie. And yes, it's always better late than never. All right, but yeah, I know everybody. I know it's gonna be tough. Oh wait, hold on. Wait, we got it saying. Yeah, Steven, we'll figure out a show that we'll get together at some point. Do a little merging of Rangers review in this, and hopefully wishing Tyler well with the New York Mets. Mike is saying, couldn't agree more. World-class talent flushed down the drain with drugs and booze. Yeah, Dom Murdoch is really a guy that really messed up his own career. But, and the Foz Truth, checking on in. How we doing? All right, guys, we're going to start playing bye-bye right now. As Anthony was mentioning about family members, is my cousin Phil, who way too young. 30 number. Maybe, 30. Everybody was talking about that one. But, oh, yeah, Wardy. I didn't get to see him this weekend with on Wardy Mets, but he must have been going nuts. Yeah. Yeah, but see, you know what the great part is? When you get good content, you just watch it no matter what it is. Ooh, thanks for another banger of a show. Thank you very much. I think there's one guy I would love to have on, either O Nyquist or Rob Talks Hockey. I think he's a Canucks fan. He'd actually be happy with that. There was a Winnipeg fan that we were talking to last year. Anthony, always his connections. And actually, once I get off, and because I'm going to start uploading this for the audio people, and one thing, I actually have something I have to tell Anthony, because we might have a future guest that might be available soon. So, which could be a former New York Islander. So, yeah, the hockey guy's another good Canucks guy too. Yeah. And yeah, I kind of half-assed the Mets a little bit this year because I was focusing so much on the Rangers, but I love my Mets, and I got 2 Jeff McNeil jerseys. One of them I must have ordered when I was drunk. I'm gonna have to address that situation soon. I think I'm gonna have to take a week off and cleanse, and maybe another week off, but I'm gonna wait till after the Rangers opening night, so that way I can at least enjoy life. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of that. All right, guys, it's been a great show. Once again, talking about the New York Islanders and their predictions. The Rangers, obviously, it's great that baseball is always great. I think great baseball is great no matter what, by the way, Mike. But I still think it's not a homer pick, in my opinion. The Rangers, I think they're going to the Stanley Cup Finals. So we'll see about that. And but the Calgary Flames, all 3 of us, very high on the Calgary Flames, and I can't agree with that more. The Calgary Flames have a hell of a team all assembled right now, and it's going to be tough for them. That's a great defense core. If it was, I think General was on here, he would actually be saying that baseball is best drunk. Baseball is best when it comes to the playoffs because that tension of the untimed sport really comes in. So, again, everybody, make sure you leave a like, or tell everybody else to leave a like, because I'm terrible at doing it. I mean, you'd think shameless self-promotion would be one of my specialties, but it doesn't really work like that well with me. But everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to get to work on uploading this and hit the gym because I've got to, trim this fat ass down. And I will see you guys soon. A Wicked saying, that's how my mom feels outside of the playoffs. Baseball is best drunk. All right, guys. Everybody, thank you very much. We'll see you soon. And I'm thinking about probably doing a post-game show at least on Tuesday night. We'll see about that. If not, I think we're going to start doing 1-minute videos for the post-game. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.